All right. So the first thing I talked about was storing our data in an array. The second thing is showing our data, right? Now, or let's just say adding data rather than showing data. So adding data. The last thing that we'll be talking about is going to be deleting data. We're going to talk about how we are going to go ahead and what delete data from that particular array. Now, you know that we've created an array already, and that array is saying, oh, we're storing this data in this place. Then we're also going to what show existing data from that array. Now we need to what know how to delete it by what getting this particular what delete button to delete it. Now, what are we going to do? We are now going to go ahead and listen for an event on this show, which is your list. You know, I'm going to change this show to list instead, because I think that show is giving us this thing. I'm going to change the list. Now, this particular list that is here. So if I go ahead and I say Paul, okay, good. Follow, good. Now, we need to create an event list now for this particular list that is here. You understand? There needs to be like an event list now. Oh, whenever we click on that particular list, we need to what access a particular data in this list. And what is the data? The delete button. Now, one thing is that we can just go ahead and what give the delete button the what's the name? The function. Of course, that still works, right? But instead of adding an event list now for every delete button, we can go ahead to add it to the parent list that is here, and then what access the data of the delete in this particular parent list. So now let me show you what I'm trying to say. So what am I saying? I'm just going to go ahead and say, oh, so let's say lists, right? Dot add event listener, right? Then we're going to listen for a click event. Now, that particular event is going to have a function, right? And that function is going to listen for an event E, right? And that event is going to target this particular button. You understand it now? So it's targeting that particular button. And how will it target that button? First of all, it's going to target that button by using the class name. You understand? It's going to target it. Now, how are we going to do it? So I'm going to say if, right, E dot what? That's this particular event. The event dot target, right, is targeting the class list. So I'm going to say class list, right, dot contains, we're going to say that contains that particular class name, which is this one. So I'm going to say delete btn, right? If that is what it contains, what are we going to have? Then what we want to have is that what you want to what targets that particular index, which is this one. Now, do not forget, I'm going to do this again so that everybody understands. So what am I trying to say? What we want to do is that we want to check if the element clicked is this one or this one. Again, I need everybody to understand this. I'm not going to write any code yet. We want to check if the element clicked is this one or this particular button. You know, this particular thing has two elements. The first is your H1. The second one is your what? Button. Right? So we want to check if the element clicked is this particular to do or this particular button, right? So now we are going to check using the class, which is going to be what this del btn. So we're going to check which of these two elements actually has a class of what del btn. You understand? So that we can what get access to it. And then also we're going to what make reference to the data index so that we know which of the particular button we are trying to delete. You know, let me show you what I'm trying to say. If I write Paul here now, submit. Okay, sorry, that's a mistake. Okay, good. If I write Paul here, right? Good, Paulo, good. This is index 0, this is index 1. So those are the two things that we need to check. We need to check, oh, which of these two elements here has the class name of what? Delete button. This one, right? Then after that, we'll now also check which of these two elements is index 0 or index 1. so that we can get each of these elements by their index. So if you click on this one, okay, we are deleting index 0. If you click on this one, we are deleting index 1. Do you get it now? So that's what we're going to afterwards get. So how do we get it? We can get them by using what their class list. So I can say if this particular event that we said here, e dot target, right, dot class list. So we're going to check if that particular class list dot contains, that means if we're going to check if it contains this particular class name that is here. So dot contains, we're going to say delete button. That's the first thing that we're going to check for. So I'm going to say del btn, right? Now, if it contains it, what do you want to do? You also want to what? Access the index by that particular array index. So I'm going to say const index, right? Equals to e dot target dot what? The data set, right? Dot index. So this is what I'm trying to say. So we're going to target this particular data set. Oh, this should not be data index. This should be data set. Cannot. Okay, good. So now we're going to target this particular what? This data, this particular data set index. We're going to target it. Now we're going to get this particular index from it. Now, after that, the hard work is done. We're actually done, honestly. We're actually done. So if I go ahead now and I say console.log index, and let me show you what we're gonna have. So if I go ahead now and I refresh, so missing after line 28. So there's a problem on line 28. Function. Okay, good. Okay, there should be a comma here. Okay, so I'm going to save it. Now let's check something out. So if I go ahead and I write read and I submit, if I click on delete now, can you see that it's giving me index 0? If I go ahead and I put reading and I submit and I did, it's giving me what? Index 1, as you can see. So it's putting the index. I'm going to write other things again. Now, if you check it out, let me click on this one, index 3, index 2 is giving me their index. You understand it now? So now that is basically what we've done. We've tried to what? Get each and every of these elements by their index so that when we want to delete it, it becomes easy. Now, so far, do we understand it up to this point? I need to know if everybody understands it before I move on to deleting.
Yes, I understand it.
Okay. Please, if you do not understand, I will understand. I understand perfect if you don't understand it. Is it clear
Sir,
to you,
please
Miss
go
Favor?
back to. No, sir, please go back to your phone.
Okay. Please ask me questions. Oh, I need questions. Okay, what's the question? Yeah, Miss Favor.
This dot class list dot contain and this
Yeah,
dot data set and index. I don't
yeah.
get it.
Okay, let me explain it again. Just a moment, please. So now, what we are trying to do is that, we need to, when I said list dot add event listener, click function, blah, blah, blah. What we've just done is that, you know what, let me just show what I'm trying to say. If I remove this data index, now there's a much more simpler way to do this. If I remove this data index that is here, I can just go ahead to, oh, sorry, that was a mistake. Good. If I remove this particular data index right now, I can just go ahead to say, instead of that, I can say, instead of list.add event, I can just say delete button, btn, right, dot add event listener. Technically, this works. But what you've just done is that what? You now have to add this. It's not now going to listen for the index. Rather, it's going to listen for the button. You understand it now? Which means that there is every tendency that you now have to add event listener for each of those buttons because you've already looped through them. So you're just adding for each of those buttons. But instead, all you have to do is to what? Add an event is now for each of those index. Now let me explain it again. What we did here is that we said list dot what? Add event listener. We are listening for a click event and a function takes an event parameter. Now, we're not going to check, because what we want to do is that we want to check if the elements that we are clicking is a button that contains a class of what? Delete btn and a data index of what? Index. We're going to check that. So now, the reason why I'm checking this is because so that we don't click on H1 and automatically it's deleting it. No, what we need the users to click is what? This button. So we're going to check if this particular event, now if we click on this particular list and what we clicked on is targeting this particular class list that contains the what? The delete button class. Anytime that they say class list contains, we're trying to check, oh, which particular class name was it, it's actually, I told you to go ahead and check out properties when we talk about DOM manipulation, right? This is also a property, right? In which you can use in getting what you need to get is a property. So we're not checking if that particular class list contains this particular delete button class. Now, if it does contains it, now we're not going to move on to what? Getting the index, right? That's why we're saying e.target.dataset.index, this particular index here, right? We have to target that particular index. And then after targeting the index, you can now what? Delete the element by the index rather than the what? Deleting it by the button. We want to delete by the index. So it is easier to get elements. Do you get it now? Because if you go ahead and give this button now, right? If you press one button, right? If I use this particular button here, if I say read, right? If I click on, let me just show what I'm trying to say. If I click on this particular button here, automatically this one too might delete because I'm giving the button the power rather than what? The index in that particular button. Do you get it now? So I don't want a situation whereby I'll click on one button and this one also automatically deletes. Do you get it now? So that's one of the reasons why we have to what? Target them by their index. So to target them by their index, we use this particular what property. We said e.target or class list dot contains, checking if it contains this particular delete button, and then if it now contains it, what do you want? Target their index, which is what? e.target.dataset.index. Now, I hope I've been able to explain this to you, Ms. Favor. Is it clear to you now?
Yes, sir.
Or
Thank
it's
you.
still all right, good. So now that
Yeah,
is
good, sir.
basically what we were. Well, sorry,
So,
I thought you were saying something.
yes, I'm trying to understand that, but it's still somehow about processing
Okay,
it.
you are trying to understand it.
Yes.
Okay, so what are you trying to understand it?
How the class list works.
Okay,
The, go back to your page. Sorry.
yeah, it's fine.
So you said is the elemental of DOM manipulation to this target dot class list dot contents,
Yeah.
right?
Sorry, I
It's trying
can't
to
hear you
say that
clearly. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
I'm trying to say that this DOM manipulation that you use there, this target dot class list dot
Mm-hmm.
content. So the new thing is actually does is it that it gets a particular item from a list?
Now, it is not exactly a list. We can say it gets a particular item. So this is how it is, right? We have
Yes.
lists. What is list? This is a div, right? You know what? Let me just show you what
Yes,
I'm
sir.
trying to say. Let me go ahead and say console.log list. Now, so you see what I'm trying to say. Now, can you see that this is what list is? Let me see if I can get the inner HTML. Hopefully, I'll be able to get it. I cannot get it. Dot let's say class list. Good. Now, okay, it's not giving us it's not giving me what I want. But now, one thing about um your div is that your div has it will definitely have especially when it comes to a div, it's going to have how do I put it? It's going to have elements under it. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now it's going to
Yes, sir.
have elements under it. Do you get it now? Now, one thing is now that part of those elements is not going to be HTML elements that either has ID, right,
Okay.
or has class names. Do you get it now? So now,
Okay, sir.
for you to now they now have okay. I think I should have explained this also. Now, this particular H1 and button is now a child to this list. Why? Because it is inside of that particular div. Do you get it now?
Mm,
So now what we are not trying
oh,
to do here is that we're not trying to select one of those children by using this particular list. So now we've given this list an add event list now. Now leaving this one first, this can literally be lists dot targets dot what class list. Now we're just trying to target the classes. Nothing has to do with the ID here. We're just trying to what target the classes, and then we're not going to check if that any of the class name contains what delete button. Now, this is just a property. When I came here and I said console.log list, right? When I put dot here now, dot, note the properties that come out. Now you can see a lot of properties. If you scroll down a little bit, can you see children? Can you see class list?
yes.
If I say children now, I can now easily get any class. It can be class, it can be ID, it can be anything. Do you get? But since I said class list, the type of children I'm trying to get what? The children that possess what? Class names. Do you understand it now? So these are just properties. So class list, class name, you understand? So now these are
Okay.
just children properties. Now I can also get the element by the ID. Can you see it now? I think we've done this
Yes.
before, getting
Yes, we've
element
done this one.
by the ID. You understand? No?
Yes, sir.
And I'll also get the first. If I say getting the first child, what am I trying to get? I'm getting the H1 because H1 is the first child. Is it clear to you now? Now this is just
Yes, sir.
basically one thing about your properties. You can still go ahead and check them out. You have a lot of properties that you can always check out. I hope
Wow.
I've been able to explain it now.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah, so that's it. So now we have what e.target or class list dot contains this. Now, since you've been able to get the next thing is to what, check we've been able to get our index. The next thing is now to go ahead and delete those items by their index. Now, I'm very, very sure everybody should know how to do this. I know everybody should know how to do this. For me to remove now this particular list now, what type of data is it? Miss Favor, Mr. Pius, Mr. Kelvin, Mr. Shegun. What type
It
of data? I know
depends.
that every day everybody used to come to class. Everybody used to come to class with that mind that this guy will come and ask us questions again. Yes, I always ask questions. Now, this particular list that you have here, what type of data type is it?
Like this string.
Are you sure it's a string?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, it is a string data type.
Okay. Hmm. I'm going to ask again. Are we sure? Are we all sure this is a string?
So using the data that the users are going to input
Now,
inside the
I
list.
understand what you're trying to say.
I know the
I
data
understand what
type
you're trying
now.
to say. I did not. Okay, what's the data type, sir?
It is a primitive data type.
No.
Wait.
You're almost there, but no. Okay, let me just give us. This is an array. That's the data. I told us when we're doing data types that we have two types of data types. Primitive, right? Non-primitive. Primitive, right? And in primitive, I gave us 5 types: number, string, boolean, undefined, and what? No. Non-primitive, I told us that, oh, you have non-primitive that also depend on the primitive. Examples are what? Arrays, objects, functions. Do we remember now?
Yes.
Good. Now, the reason why I'm asking what type of data type is this list is because now we need to delete from this particular list. And since we know that this list is an array, how do we remove a particular index from that particular list? What method are we going to use in removing from that particular array? Anybody? Miss Favor, any idea?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please go ahead. Tell us what you have in mind.
It's pop.
Pop? Why is it pop?
The pop removes items from last element, the last item in the array. So we can pop it
So
out.
what if I want to remove? So what if I want to remove from? So let me say I have a read. I also have a levy, and I have learn. Now, what if I want to delete from levy, the middle? You just told me that pop
Okay.
removes the last
Okay.
element, right?
Okay.
So what if I want to delete levy? What happens? So
Okay, let's
as you
use
can see, pop does not work.
okay. We
What
use
can we use then?
splice.
What you
Splice.
say? Splice.
Splice.
Good. Very good. That's very, very good. Now, how exactly are we now going to use splice? Please, you are the one that is going to give me this thing now. So, if we're going to be using splice, right, what exactly are we targeting? We are targeting the to do, right? So, we're going to say to do's
Yes.
dot what? Splice. Because the to do's is the what? Is the array. So, we have to what? Target that particular what? To do dot splice. Then, I told you that splice takes in 2 things.
Yes. To
Sorry, 3
start.
things rather. 3 things. If you want to like add, or if you want to delete a particular particular element, it takes in 2 things. The first is what? The start. That means where you want to start from. The start number or start element. Let's just say start element. And the second is going to be what? Amount of elements you want to delete. Do you understand it now? It takes in these 2 things. Now, what is the start element in this place? Bam, that's the first question. What does start element mean? Miss Favor, I'm Mr. Pius, I'm Mr. Shegun, I'm Mr. David, Mr. Kelvin. I've not heard from Mr. Kelvin today. I don't know why. Is it maybe it's solving a bug on that net? Mr. Kelvin, can you hear me? Okay, Miss Favor, please go ahead. Do you have any do you know what this start element is?
And is telling us where to start from in the array. Like the array starts from 0.
So what do we write there?
I
Zero,
don't
right?
know which. I don't. Yes, but I don't know the item we are deleting.
Now, what is this index here?
You know zero.
What does this index mean here? This particular index here, what does it mean?
The data index.
When I was doing this map, I said this map takes in two things: to do and what? Index. What does to
Index
do mean? What does to do mean?
is the item in the list one by one.
Individual one. Yeah, good. Now, what does this index mean?
Their position.
Exactly, their position. So now, this to do now is, if you want to delete anything, I think it takes in two things: the start of an element or the position of the element, right? That means if you want to delete
Yes.
them, we need to take in into consideration two things: the index of that element and the amount of elements you want to delete. So what do you think this place is going to be now?
Zero.
Go ahead, please.
Zero. And one. You're deleting
One,
one.
okay. So we're gonna have one, Abby, like this.
No.
Is that
Zero.
it?
No.
Okay. What are we going to have?
Zero. Zero.
I just want you to think about it. It's not hard. So again, I explained it. This particular index is the amount, is the index of that particular array that you want to delete. Can be index 0, can be index 1, can be index 2, can be any index. So, and I said this particular one basically talks about the start of the element or the position of the element. So what should be here, first of all, should be index, right? Now, the amount of elements you want to delete is just one. Because why? You
Yeah.
want to delete from index 1 or 0 or 2 or 3 or 4. And then what? You just want to delete one element. You understand? And that's why it's now to do's dot splice, the index, and what? One element deleted. Now we're not going to go ahead and what? Call this particular function here. I'm going to say show to do's so that it's going to work. Now, let's go ahead and what, check it out and see if it's going to work. So if we put levy here now, submit, delete, as you can see, it has deleted. Submit, delete. Now, I want you to check this place out. I'm going to console.log to do's so you can see what we have after deleting. So I'm going to say console.log to do's, right? Then let us check what we have out now. If I put read, submit, if I delete, can you see that's giving me an empty array now? That's just to tell you that what we've removed read from that particular array. I hope everybody understands this now. Is it clear to us? Is it clear to everybody, please?
Yes, it's clear to me.
Okay, good. Mr. Favor, is it clear to you? Mr. Shegun, Mr. Kelvin, Mr. David, is this clear to everybody? Do we understand this? It's very, very important that we all understand it. Or should I explain it again? Yeah. Mr.
Now
Favor,
please go
I'm not
back
here
to your
from you. Is it
code.
clear?
Go back to your code. So this index we put here
Yeah.
now is allowing the users to pick the one that they will delete. Because if we put zero here or any
Let
number
me show you
here.
something. I'm coming. Let me just show you something.
Okay.
Now, if I say console.log index, right? I want you to note something. So if I say Paul, submit, delete, what index is it giving to you?
Zero.
Good. If I say Polo, submit, delete, what design is it giving to you?
One.
One. Good. Now, normally, if you want to delete a particular element, what do you put? You put the index and the amount of
Yes.
elements you want to delete. Now, instead of putting this one element here, Put index. Why? Because automatically this index has been tied to the value of this particular what button that is here. Do you get? It has already been tied to the value of that button. So all I have to do is go ahead and what? Click on that button, and the index is going to what? Be removed. Do you understand it now? That's one thing about index. So that's all you have to do. Go ahead and automatically it's going to get removed. So if I put John now, submit, click on John, automatically it is going to what? Get removed. Now if I say, oh, since I have that, it's not going to be what? Console index 10, 1. Now if I do splice, what are you going to have? Automatically, you're not going to have it work. So if I say John now, or learn, submit, delete, automatically it gets deleted. Because why? I'm trying to what? Delete that particular value. Do you understand it now? So that's just basically what it is.
Okay.
Yes. So that's it. So we can add other functionalities. So functionalities like we need to make sure that this does not show again. So how do we not make that show? We can just go ahead and in this place, let me remove this to dos. In this place, I'm just gonna have a input value, or let's just say input dot value should now equals to empty strings after writing it. So we're not gonna have read submit. Automatically it's going to what? Disappear. Learn submit. It's going to disappear. John submits, going to disappear. So that's it. And then we're also going to add the button, the what's the name? Event listener for click. That's the what's the name? Key press rather. I think we've written it before, which is this. So we're just going to copy it. Let me just copy it and bring it back. So it's just going to put it here. Yeah. So whenever we click on add task, whenever I click on press this enter, automatically it should work. Okay. Add task is not defined. Okay, instead of add task, we should call it show to dos rather. Show to dos. So now let us try it out. So if I say Paul, enter. Okay, I don't think it's working yet. So it's not working. Input dot add event listener. Hmm. So add event listener, key press function e dot key equals enter. There's no reason why it shouldn't work.
I will not have two functions with you. We have function
You say?
E and function E. I said we now have two functions with almost the same name, EE.
No, the thing is that function is just local. When you use e in a function, it is local. So it only works for this particular function. This e only works. I can still use another e in another place and it's still going to work. You
Okay.
get? It's local. So I do not really understand why my own enter keyword is not working. So that's strange. Very, very strange. Let me use small letter and let's see what happens. Okay, that's very, very strange. So I don't know why it's not working. Coming. Input dot add event listener. We have key press function. Okay, good. This should actually work. It should work. Okay. Mm. There's no reason why it shouldn't work, but since it's not working, we'll just have to like do away with it. So we have input dot add event listener, which is this particular input here. The add event listener. So we have key press, good. Function E. I don't know why I'm not even saying anything wrong with this. So show to do's, which is this one. Oh, I understand what's wrong now. So I'm gonna take this up a little bit. So I'm gonna bring it here. Good. Now let us try it out again and let's see. Okay, still not working. All right. We'll just leave this for now. So, please let's go ahead and write this out. And then if we come back, I'm going to introduce us to hoisting. So we'll talk about hoisting and asynchronous JavaScript. I'm going to introduce us to it. And I expect everybody to go ahead and read on this before our next class on Monday. So on Monday, we'll talk about this in details. And then, yeah, we'll see again. We'll talk about this in details. Then we'll start writing asynchronous programming. Um, I want us to remember. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording now. Just a moment. So, I want us to remember